Hi, welcome to heaven. Get a look around, settle in nicely. It's all your favorite memories on replay over and over again. Your first time eating your favorite meal? That's here. What about the first time you got paid? That too, you greedy little scamp. And that's all there is. Just you alone with your memories. Forever. There are only a handful of episodes of Supernatural that feel like they hit you in the soul with a sledgehammer. Episodes that don't just forward the plot or deepen the lore, but reframe everything that you thought you knew about these characters. Season 5, episode 15, Dark Side of the Moon, is absolutely one of those episodes. Hell, it might be the episode. It's not only about where Sam and Dean are going in season 5 of the show, it's about everywhere else that they've already been, and what's left when you strip all of that away. So what's the answer? A little bit of heartbreak, a little bit of distance, and a tiny flicker of something that's so close to hope and yet entirely unreachable. Ladies and gentlemen, to figure out the truth of everything going on in Dark Side of the Moon, we have to die. Let's start with Sam, because he's honestly my favorite character of the show, and this is one of the most brutal Sam episodes in the entire show, and paints him in a pretty bad light. When Sam and Dean wake up in heaven, shot dead by angry hunters, by the way, which is just a casual reminder of how messed up the hunter world is, they each begin reliving their happiest memories. The only crazy thing is that Sam's best moments in his happiest memories don't include Dean whatsoever. I find that to be such a subtle and brilliant writing choice for this character, and I love so much of the drama that it brings within this episode. It's such a devastating decision, but one that I respect so much. These aren't bad memories for him. These are peaceful. He has childhood Thanksgivings, escaping from constant fighting with his dad and brother, being away at school. It's beautiful, honestly, but the absence of Dean is deafening. And here's the thing, Sam doesn't even realize it. To him, it's just comforting quiet. The only time in his life that he's ever known peace. And that hurts because you realize just how much of Sam's life was defined by fear, control, and sacrifice. All things that Dean probably saw as love, but Sam saw as suffocating. It's not that Sam hates his brother, it's that to Sam, being away from Dean is the only time he got to figure out exactly who the hell he was. And that's not an indictment of Dean, it's just the tragic truth about how their lives were built. And now, we gotta talk about the true subject of this episode, and that's Dean Winchester. Whereas Sam's memories were sort of thrown in with very little fanfare, Dean gets the exact opposite treatment. After the two are shot and killed in their motel room, we're treated to one of the best scenes of the entire show. Dean wakes up in his car and exits to find Sam in a field with fireworks, one of his most fondest memories, and the two light it up and burn down the whole forest with Knockin' on Heaven's Door playing. This scene absolutely floored me when I first watched it. Not only is the song choice perfect, maybe a little too perfect, but the melancholy nature of it made me so emotional. It highlights such a brilliant part of the episode, and that's just the trippiness and surrealness of it that almost makes it feel homely. It feels so dreamlike, but in a way that also feels wrong, and you feel that when the dream ends with the fireworks morphing into gunshots, with Dean realizing that he's dead. This continues with Castiel's introduction into the episode. He's talking to Dean on a TV set, telling him that he has to find a road, and that's when we really dive into the fact that Dean's gonna see some stuff that Sam otherwise wouldn't want him to. Dean's entire heaven is comprised of him, his family, and not just his family, but the idea of family. His mother, Sam, a moment in childhood when things felt okay. Even in death, Dean is still chasing a home that never actually existed. And that's the contrast that I find so crushing. While Sam's chasing himself, trying to figure out who he is, Dean was latching on to a figment of his own imagination. Dean's reaction to finding out that Sam escaping to Flagstaff is one of Sam's best memories floored me. Dean refers to it as awful and even seems to infer that their dad punished him severely for letting Sam wander off. The idea of this being happy for Sam never crossed Dean's mind because for Dean, he failed. He let his brother down, he let their father down, and Sam's weekend getaway was Dean's own personal hell. And of course, right after that, the two find themselves on a random street in the middle of nowhere, the night that Sam ditched his entire family to go to college. Such an amazing and heartbreaking moment too, because Sam immediately recognizes that night and tries to pull Dean away, but he can't, and he has to reckon with Dean's memory of it. Dean even calls it the worst night of his life. Sam's heaven is somebody else's Thanksgiving. It's him abandoning his family. It's Sam abandoning Dean. It was supposed to be them against the world, but is there any way that Dean can believe that anymore? This isn't just a betrayal, it's a confirmation of every fear Dean's ever had. That he wasn't enough, that he dragged him down, that all that blood and sacrifice was for someone who didn't even want to be there. But this isn't a tantrum or a guilt trip. It's grief. The kind of grief that's been building all season. He's realizing that not only he might not be able to stop the apocalypse, he might not really even know Sam anymore. So after dying and finding out that all of his brother's happiest memories are without him, what does Dean Winchester get as his reward? What secret knowledge does he learn when he reaches Heaven's Garden? Does he meet God? Does he get the secret weapon to kill the devil? No. He meets an angel, and an angel who tells him the simple fact that God left. God doesn't think it's his problem that Sam and Dean want to stop the apocalypse. Not only did he leave heaven, he's left the Winchesters, and he's never coming back. He's helped them many times before, but it's up to them now, for them to figure out the way back. Supernatural has always walked a fine line between faith and nihilism, but this episode completely shatters any hope of faith. There's nothing remaining. Dean can't rely on his brother. He can't even rely on God. Can he even rely on himself? It's the single springboard that defines the entirety of the rest of the season and Dean's character arc going forward. And when they both come back to life and Dean tells Castiel the truth about God, about everything, even Cass gives up. He gives Dean his amulet back, the gift that at one point stood for the bond between Sam and Dean, and leaves. And what does Dean do with it? He tosses it in the trash, because now it's useless to him too. And you can't even blame Sam in this case. He's not a villain here, he's just as much a victim of their life as Dean. His happiest moments were happy to him because he's viewed everything around him through a different lens. Just because someone is family doesn't make them Sam's whole world, and just because someone helps you doesn't mean you live forever in their debt. There's so many more nooks and crannies to talk about in this episode too. I could go on about how Zachariah is the perfect antagonist for this episode. One step behind Sam and Dean at all times, pulling them down and getting them angrier and angrier as Sam and Dean continue to slip out of his grasp. I genuinely love the climax with him toying with the two of them, bringing Mary into the fold. And speaking of Mary, it's not just Dean's perception of Sam that this episode toys with. It practically shatters the entire story of Sam and Dean's parents being happily married. This also comes after the fact that they learn that Sam and Dean's parents hated each other before angels got involved, makes it an even more painful moment. He was already cleaning up their dad's messes, being a father to everyone around him. It's a beautiful moment, but it's a painful moment. This episode was written by Andrew Dabb all the way back in season 5, and a lot of the elements he introduces here are super important to his first season as showrunner, which was season 12. The idea of shattering the illusion of family, the removal of the mythic nature of it, and getting to know these people that you love for who they really are and not just who you want them to be. It's another one of these season 5 episodes that truly makes you feel like this literally is the end. It's bringing back fan favorites, some we haven't even seen since season 2 in the case of Ash, and giving us catharsis for where they end up. It's really fucking cool. And then there's also the lore drop that heaven is all separate memories, yet still interconnected, able to be traveled through. It's way cooler than anything Jeremy Carver does with heaven later in the show, and that's all I'll say. Dark Side of the Moon is an episode about disillusionment, about finding out that your faith is built on something that doesn't even exist, and that your brother's heaven doesn't include you. And just maybe you've been fighting for something that was never going to be enough, and yet they keep going. Sam and Dean keep moving forward, even with the weight of that loss, even knowing that God won't help, even knowing that they're not on the same page. And I think that's what makes the show so beautiful to me, because Supernatural was never about God. I've already talked about that. It's about two brothers driving into the dark, even when they don't know what's on the other side. That was my second favorite episode of season 5. If you want my review of the original series finale for Supernatural, Swan Song, you can check that out, but this was my second favorite, right behind that one. Tomorrow we're going to be covering an incredible episode of the show and one of the most thematically relevant. Join me then.
Guys, employee of the month every month forever. Excuse me?